What's going on, everyone? We are here kind of late, so I just pressed the record button and this is already rolling. They are just introducing themselves. This is the Revenant Act 2 reveal. Livestream, developers, stuff. Let's go.
Now we're hot on Fickrell's trail, and we've found our way back to the reef. So, some Destiny players that maybe have a longer tenure might have an idea of what Fickrell might be interested in terms of reef-bound system stuff.
Very interesting, which I will say, very conveniently, excellent segue, thank you, leads us to our first batch of gameplay.
Exactly.
For, again, the Destiny vets out there, the Destiny 1 players who may be still with us as well, myself included. We are returning to an activity that's been reprised from the Destiny 1 days.
Absolutely.
Noah, can you tell us what we're getting into here?
You said returning. I'd like to say this activity was reimagined.
Yeah.
Instead of it being the Prison of Elders from Destiny 1, this is now a Tomb of Elders. This activity specifically is Contest of Elders, actually. Now, I'm going to want the fire team to hold up a little bit because I want to describe it a little bit for the audience.
Excellent.
So if those who are familiar with things like Deep Dives or The Coil and Riven's Lair from Season 23, this is a similar kind of activity where it's a longer tail, more roguelite activity. One of our design tenets was we wanted to make it as variable as possible.
Yeah.
And we'll go into a lot of what makes it as variable as it is. But in general, it follows a lot of the beats from Prison of Elders and Destiny 1, which is, you go to arenas, complete encounters, and all this while the spooky, scary warden is kind of in your ear, kind of egging you on.
Yeah.
Instead of it being Varix, it's the warden servitor.
Yeah.
And players are trying to placate this warden rather than rebel against him. So the more you do that he says, you'll actually get more loot, and we'll go into that a little bit more in the future. How this activity is structured, I'd say it's very close to Riven's Lair. For those who remembered, Riven's Lair, you kind of had a trap room, then an encounter, then another trap room, then a boss. And this is slightly more action focused, so we have, as we saw, that cryopod encounter first, then you'll have a faction encounter. It'll take you to a random arena throughout the prison. It's still shaped like the spokes, like in the original Prison of Elders. Then you'll have a short traversal section, and then you'll have a boss. And then after that, you will get pulled into the warden's office and get your loot, and then you'll run around the loop again.
Yeah.
In every single encounter, you're going to have a challenge, and for bosses specifically, you're going to have a critical objective. And that kind of all goes into this in-activity reputation system that's called the Warden's Judgment. When you read the rules, for all my players who like to read, you can see what that is, but I know people don't read, so I'm going to try to explain it the best I can.
Why were you staring right at me when you said that? That's so weird.
I don't read either.
Okay.
I literally will look at it and I'll be like, I don't care.
I'll figure it out.
So the Warden's Judgment is a pretty simple but kind of complicated mechanic we have that's meant to address some of the feedback that we've gotten from the Coil specifically. So for those who are very experienced with that activity, people were very much questioning how do you get to the wish chamber, like how many wishing glass you need to get, like if you felt like you didn't get the loot goblin, you're like, oh, I didn't get the wish chamber. We found out statistically that most people had already surpassed the threshold they need to get to the wish chamber, but it just missing out things felt bad, and it initially kind of hampers your desire to keep going because you might be like, well, I don't want to get to the very end and see if I didn't get to it.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't care much about Riven's Lair and the Coil, not gonna lie.
In-activity way to check how well you're doing. There'll be a buff on the top of your screen, and it'll kind of dictate how well you're doing. So when you complete a challenge or a bonus objective, your Warden's Judgment will increase. It can get all the way up to favor times 1 to 3. If you do not complete the objective within the time limit, you will go down a level. And if you're in Warden's Punishment, the activity gets a little bit easier. We have less elites, less mini bosses, and our high value targets that are called model prisoners will be elites, and they give you a revive token on death.
Okay.
But the better you do, we have more things that are going to try to hamper you. We'll have traps in the arena. We'll have increased mini bosses, and when you're at favor times 3, the ultimate test, because you want to stay at that the whole time for max rewards. Your bonus objective time limits will be reduced by around 30%.
Okay.
So some things may take, maybe you have 2.5 minutes to complete something, and then it becomes 2 minutes. Or you have a minute and 30 seconds, and maybe it becomes just a minute. It gets a little bit tougher. Exactly. But that's kind of the core about this activity that makes it cool. People say that these activities kind of take a long time. Sometimes you have 40, 50, maybe 60-minute activities. The better you do, the warden can actually allow you to skip an encounter. And we've had in playtests, we've had runs that can last 28 minutes, 30 minutes, and that's when you're getting the most rewards. So this is kind of promoting maybe you'll get bad luck and have some bad encounters, but the more you run it, you'll get more experience. You'll understand kind of how the flow is, and you'll be able to get a lot of rewards really fast and kind of experience the whole prison of elders.
They
Our fire
are-
team is actually showing one of my favorite features, which is
Please.
we tried to give every boss a cool intro. So this boss descends in from a thresher from the ceiling.
That's
so
cool. That's pretty
every
cool.
every enemy race has their own kind of mechanic. So the Hive, generally their mechanics revolve around portals in the arena.
Yeah.
The Cabal are all about getting these explosive charges and blowing up things that are like immune. We'll see the Dreads in a second, but the Scorns are about like getting these explosive canisters and kind of making a makeshift explosive.
Yeah.
Internally, I like to call it the junkyard fantasy because like it's kind of like all junky and rusted and stuff.
Tinkering and putting it together.
Yeah, you put it together, and then it makes this really cool. Shout out Mikola for doing this. He also made the Liminality Strike, so shout out to him.
Oh.
He made a really cool thing where like you see the explosion trail like kind of get to the big explosive.
And the Thresher,
Yes.
it's like a boss in itself.
No, I
That's
have
cool.
to ask, why did it have to be a
You
Thresher?
gotta damage
I'm having some,
the
memories from
Thresher
the
first
arena.
and then kill the boss.
Scaring me already.
Well,
I like
you know,
that.
Threshers are cool, and it's just, it's cool to have different boss silhouettes in Destiny. We don't often actually fight a Thresher as a boss, and the Thresher's not even the true boss, as we see a Scion and his Scion goons are the actual main bosses for this fleet. So
That's
it's like
pretty
kind
cool.
of the quasi mechanic there, where it's like, you start off, you gotta kill the Thresher, and then it's gone. We got like one of those Russian dolls, and a bunch of Scions pop out, and you gotta deal with them now. So the Warden Servitor will be like, warning, poison gas, or whatever. And when you come in, and it's
You've
like, oh,
done that
God.
before. All right.
Yes,
That's
all the time.
Yeah.
I've been at home just like by myself, just doing a Varix impression.
Everyone does that.
to, like,
Everyone
nothing.
does that.
That's how I'm going to talk to my cat exclusively now. I
Exactly.
can just tell.
I think he'll get a little scared though.
It's okay. He has to exist around me anyway. He's well prepared.
I just think of insect like chattering in the
Yeah.
subtitles. That's all I got in my brain.
Chittering, chattering. I don't know. It's
And we see the
insect
Warden's office. So that's what I call. That's not what it's called.
Please,
But
the
that's what I like
principal's
to call it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time you complete a boss, you will get pulled to this chamber where the Warden will reward you based on how well you've done. This fire team has done very well. So they get 3 chests, and you get a rally banner that allows you to like kind of refresh your super and ammo. And
3
stuff before the
chests,
next round.
Glimmer,
As we saw,
1
you have
enhancement
Judgment,
core, and
calculate,
enriching
punishment
powder.
protocol averted.
That's kind of
If you're
crazy.
in the Warden's punishment, while
This
you're
is like the
judging,
first one, I
it's
think
like
so.
Kind of Monopoly style, like mini game. A punishment will happen. I don't want to spoil what that is, but I think it'll be very smart. But as we see, they were able to skip the cryopod encounter. If you were like at a neutral or below, you would have to do that cryopod encounter again. But our fire team is good enough to skip it. So if you keep that momentum, you're able to skip that encounter every single time and kind of go through the prison much faster than you would normally.
Yeah.
So this is, the fire team went through it earlier, but this is a traversal section. So these are different than how they were in the coil. I also want to shout out every player who died to my spike traps in the coil. I did that on purpose.
So it was you, huh?
There's a lot of grudges being built in chat right now in real time. It's,
Hey, you're done, buddy.
you're
You're
like
done.
an evil DM, honestly. It's so.
It's fun. I
Yeah.
don't think it's
You
not
feel
fun
your
to them, but
ears
it's fun to
burning
me.
at like 2 a.m. and it's me screaming at my ceiling. Noah, why did you do this?
Exactly. I
just-
see all the comments and I just am like.
He just smiles. Yeah, he just feels better. Warms up his coffee. Yeah.
These are these are much shorter than they were in the coil, but their goal is in Contest of Elders specifically, not Tomb of Elders, which is like 1 lap.
Yeah.
These have their own challenges that players have to complete. So for this one, it was kill every enemy, defeat every enemy that's there. There are some that's like collect a bunch of like fallen lights. I can't remember what they're called. Yeah. They're like energy signals, or like defeat a boss within a certain amount of time. So it's just more things to kind of challenge you and make these, transitionary spaces a little bit more interesting. And so we have like the piece de resistance right here. My son, everyone will be very excited to see this. This is one of my favorite intros.
The grand reveal. Yeah, let's see
Exactly.
here. And you were saying the Dread and the Taken are working together in this one, right?
I'd
Oh, that
say
was-
the Taken are kind of taking the helm of the Dread right now, not because like they're stronger or anything, but because like I
barely heard that.
More experience with the prison. I feel
Yeah,
like
honestly.
he's he was a model inmate.
Yeah.
So they were like we're asking from the best. All the
They need to bump that up, bro.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
I barely
He was
heard
always,
that.
He was always available.
We're not going to show the treasure chamber, unfortunately, but that's kind of the whole thesis. We want everyone to get to that treasure chamber and feel like however they played, they can get paid out based on how well they did.
Definitely.
And my goal was, even if you're at the worst level, if you're at Warden's Punishment ×3, you're able to get to the max rewards in 1 lap.
Yeah. Just might take you a little bit longer.
Yeah,
might
you
be
just
a
have
little
to
bit
be
more
kind of
stressed.
dialed in.
Yeah.
It'll be the phrasing of like, oh, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
Exactly.
You got to earn these
You
rewards.
got to say it in a Varric's voice though too.
Oh, I'm not.
Sure, we'll get
Warden
back to
has
that.
so many lines. I want to shout out Olivia on narrative for writing all the lines.
Yeah.
He has, I think, like, I don't even know. I'm not going to like make a number up right now, but he has a bunch, and they range from being, I'm very proud of you, to like, come on, man, you got to do a little better than that.
Yeah,
it kind of
honestly.
pushes you to kind of just want to make him proud.
Yeah, he's not mad. He's just disappointed.
Yep,
right?
yep.
Yeah, exactly. Dylan is the father here. He's used to saying that to me.
I don't use the slang like you do.
That's it. I mean, I got that Skibbity Ohio riz, unfortunately.
Oh my
What
god.
was that?
Moving right along. Actually, while we have a second here, Taylor, I wanted to go ahead back to you.
Yeah.
Actually, we've got some new artifact mods joining this time around as well. Do you mind if we take a look and kind of walk through and see what we got here?
Yeah. So we've got like the last episode. Sorry, we have a new row unlocking in Act 2. These are all close quarters themed. So we've got a discount for all your melee mods, an improvement to emergency reinforcements, which I think is like you get a heal when you're low health. Got a way to get armor charge while you're surrounded. The boost there gives you more weapon handling and charge rate for swords.
And the boost comes from tonics, right?
Yeah. So there'll be new tonics.
Nice.
This, I think, is a variant of one of the older mods that is when you break a combatant shield, you get an orb of power. And then the boost on this actually is going to be really nice, which is picking up an orb of power or elemental pickup or tangle. Gives you
That's
a bit
cool.
of health, which kind of replicates the leg armor mods.
Especially in
which you can
GMs, I
health,
remember
or you
that
can-
perk used
you can do
to
a slot with that. I know, like,
do a lot of
Stasis
orbs,
Hunter
like
with
a
the
lot of
helmet,
them.
That's going to be pretty good for that.
Yeah.
And also just for staying alive and
Yeah.
this activity, since it's kind of spicy.
Someone who's been a very punchy punch hunter these days with my Rorschach build, as I call it.
Yep.
Yeah, those like there's a lot of mods in this row that I'm really looking forward to having.
Tomb of Elders activities are very claustrophobic. I think shotguns in close range is definitely going to be king here.
I can't wait.
And we got
What's the buzzword? Enemy density.
Yeah.
Yes, the density in Destiny is just getting there.
And then arc compounding, which I believe was maybe in an older artifact, which is arc sources deal more damage to blinded targets, which might actually pair really well with the changes that got done to Exteris, since the moths there will be blind to blind for yourself, and then also it's a grenade launcher, so it kind of gets to double dip with all the grenade launcher mods in this. One of the things we're doing in this Act 2 patch is we're buffing all the roaming supers. So for context, that's like your Storm Trance, Vista Havoc, where you're in the super for a
Vista
while,
Havoc.
versus the one-shot supers like Nova Bomb, Tether, etc. We're making a change so that the damage-based rechargers, specifically in PvE,
right, yes, only in PvE, not PvE.
you'll be charged like through active combat. You'll be charging the roaming supers, but like 2 to 3 times faster than normal.
Yeah.
So it's like a pretty big swing with the kind of the idea that you want to move these a little bit closer to your neutral game, or something you feel more comfortable popping like on cooldown.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like you need to keep it for when you kind of need it. You can use it pretty actively because you can get it back ready. Relatively quickly.
Yeah, you used the I think a great analogy earlier of like it's not the hyper potion in your backpack you hold on to forever because you need it
we
that
want to
boss
try
fight.
and break
Just
that habit.
use
We
it.
understand it's a hard habit to kick.
As someone again who uses the super basically only in the final phase of any boss fight.
Yep. Yeah. Years and years of Destiny have trained me very well to do that too. So it was interesting seeing in playtests because it took people a bit to kind of adapt to it, but once we got used to how quickly they were coming back, it was like a lot of fun because it opens up a lot more things too. Because like now there's a bunch of exotics that are tied to roaming supers that are kinda just instantly more valuable without needing to change a whole lot of stuff.
Totally.
So it shakes things up.
In addition to the cool content being added, you've got some notes prepared, I see. We've got some cool stuff to go ahead.
Have notes.
There it is. All right, everyone, get your memes going. We
sorry,
have got
Dado.
some cool stuff arriving in the form of, let's go ahead and start from the top. We're doing a partnership with Street Fighter coming up. Can you tell us a little bit about the cool stuff that we're going to have available through that partnership?
Maybe.
All right, well, what if I ask, please, may you tell us?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
I mean,
there we go. All
so
right.
you've seen a few things through gameplay. We have a bunch of cosmetics. Like the first thing you can see here is a wonderful set of ghosts. So we got your Cammy, Ryu, your Chun-Li. I wouldn't want my ghost to get into a fist fight with any of the bosses really, but that one looks like they could take.
The Ryu one's pretty swole, I gotta say.
Yeah. I'm gonna punch every face of the witness.
There's a lot, so you better get to work.
Yeah. And then one of our players has actually been running around with a Blanca helmet, which is so it's not one classic. It's a universal ornament. The helmet goes on all characters, hunter type warlock, which is gonna be great. And then with the roaming cube, it changes like that. You can draw on your site. then we actually have a segue on screen already with the armor that has been adorned.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and rotate over there. With the arrival as well of this act, the Dawning is going to be making its return as well on December 10th, I believe.
Let me check my notes. Yes, December 10th, yeah. 10 a.m. right at reset, we'll have the Dawning coming back. The wonderful theme for our armor is going to be a celestial space dragon, which is really great. And then the team did a bunch of really good work on shader application. We've seen your feedback tons of times on, hey, I want my shaders to look pretty on all the armor that I'm getting.
Yeah.
This knocks it out of the park, especially with that celestial star map.
Of course,
and the
it's a
wings.
warlock.
Yeah.
Each class is going to get their dragon on. It's going to be a great time. These
Watch
armor
the
sets
Titan
you
be
can get, for
ass,
silver
bro.
or bright dust. So if you've been doing all your Pathfinders, shout out to the team on the Pathfinder changes in the last episode launch. Dawning Ingrams are coming back. We have focusing. You can actually earn double perks as well. So if you're trying to get the new linear fusion rifle with some spicy rolls, it's going to be nice to earn a pathway to a couple in the columns. But if we could get a preview.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Yeah. So adaptive burst, beautiful fusion rifle. There's already actually a pretty spicy roll on the screen right now. So on the left column,
It has bait and
internally
switch.
we call it box
I'm
weaken.
sold.
Like box breathing.
What's the actual?
Withering gaze.
Withering gaze. So aim down sights for a bit, and then you
Left
can.
column specifically.
Oh, sorry,
is really
left.
Nice.
You can weaken your targets, and then in the right column, bait and switch. So amp up your damage, weaken your target. That's actually going to be a pretty spicy roll. Vice Singer 2 to get a bunch of your ammo back. But if you're actually worried about ammo, Envious Arsenal. It's one of the hottest perks of this season or of this episode. Sorry, this act. Those are going to pair really well in this linear that's coming out. Oh yeah, last thing. We've had a lot of players asking about Iron Banner.
Oh, right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Really?
November 26th. So the week after the
Kinda
act
doubt that,
launches,
but
we'll
okay.
have Iron Banner coming back with a new armor set and a couple new weapons that a certain somebody might have
A couple
details
new
on.
weapons. Can you give us a tease? There was a sidearm. I remember we were
Yeah,
talking
I
about
need
a
it.
little bit earlier.
Oh yeah, the
Stasis,
explosives.
rocket sidearm
Yes.
with chill clip. I think some people have already found that, but yeah, that'll be available soon
I just like all those words,
to
honestly. on
forever
their
sit
own.
in that slot.
Yeah, I cannot wait.
For the
honestly.
first time in 5 years, I'm gonna enter the Iron Banner
Enter machine
again.
gun on.
With the arrival of Act 3, shortly after the arrival or right when it launches, we'll defer that to a twit to make sure we get that date spot on. There's going to be a new exotic weapon quest arriving as well, and with it, a new exotic shotgun as well that we're going to actually take a look at here today.
Oh.
Now, the name of the quest we're not
Oh,
going to
this
spoil
is
for
the
you because it
shotgun.
has some story implications.
This is the thing that
But,
got leaked,
Taylor,
I think.
I'd love to put you on the spot real quick. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
Yeah, so this is Slayer's Fang. It's a pretty unique
Holy.
slug shotgun, where it fires a single slug round that once it impacts a target or a surface, like environment, the slug shatters in a bunch of secondary projectiles. And then once you get a kill, you get true sight for a short period of time, and then the shattered projectiles will weaken targets that they hit, and they get a bit smarter with their tracking.
Very nice.
Oh,
Also fully reloads the gun with the reload.
I was gonna ask.
It's not shell by shell.
Yeah, was it the whole? So it's the whole magazine up front, not necessarily. Okay.
it looks like a
I can already,
Valorant
I'm already
gun.
mentally trying to build this into as many
Looks
loadouts
cool.
as I possibly
Oh,
can.
yeah.
if I'm being
Your Falcon, yeah.
Very
Yeah.
curious if no backup plans Titans might happen.
Well, they will now. Jeez.
Yeah. Also benefits from the shotgun changes that happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually,
Honestly.
like reasonable range to use this.
Is
Yeah.
it craftable?
Yes. Yeah. So like kind of the past couple quests we've done with this, like Choir 1, etc. Be a bunch of things to do in the activity, intrinsic levels to unlock, and a handful of catalysts that have some interesting interactions with how the gun works itself.
And even just before the stream, sitting in here, just going through it all has been so much fun. So thank you all for joining us. And of course, to Dylan for kind of walking us through a little bit of what's to come, including the stuff with the Dawning, the Street Fighter 6 partnership, the Doki Doki set that is no jokey jokey. Thank you, Dylan. We appreciate you taking the time.
No worries.
Had to get one more in.
I'm sorry. That would be free.
I'm
He
excited
got
to
the
go home and
worst
get
jokes,
some,
bro.
hot
I
dogs
swear
from
to
Garden
God.
of Salvation that this man worked on. So sorry, deep sights. So
Deep side.
To tomato to hot dog. It's all right. It works out well.
What is going on?
We're all going mad in here.
That was cool. That was cool. I already knew about the Tomb of Elders because the leaks just spawned in my TL, in my timeline on Twitter, so I got spoiled. But it seems cool. I actually have been taking a little break from Destiny, so coming back, it's gonna be a little refreshing, I guess. I'm not gonna lie, Onslaught was getting a little bit tiring, so hopefully this one will be better, I guess. November 9th. Okay, it's next week. Cool. We'll be there no matter what. And well, folks, that is it for me. This was a lot more reaction than me saying anything at all. But yeah, I kind of forgot how to do this stuff, not gonna lie. But we're gonna get back on track. Next Tuesday we'll be here, recording, grinding, and yeah, that is it for me. I'll see you all next week. Bye.